Close your eyes for just for a second. I want you to picture Alabama,
Okay.
but I don't want you to picture, a map or a highway sign. I want you to picture the actual texture of the place.
The land, the deep.
Right, the landscape.
Yeah.
So maybe you're standing on the white sands of the Gulf Coast, feeling that really heavy salt spray humidity, or maybe you're way up north.
Like looking off the edge of Chehaw State Park.
Exactly. Seeing those Appalachian foothills just rolling out into the haze.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're drifting in a kayak through a river delta that literally looks like the Amazon.
Or standing in the cool air at the mouth of a cave. It really is a sensory experience, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, we often forget just how biologically and geographically diverse this state is. It's actually one of the most biodiverse places in North America.
Which is wild to think about. And usually when we talk about all that natural beauty, we're talking about, a weekend trip or a summer vacation.
Right, we're thinking about coolers and sunscreen.
Yeah, exactly. But today, for this deep dive, we are talking about a document that, and stay with me here, on the surface sounds like the absolute driest thing imaginable.
Oh, it really does.
But it is actually the blueprint for how we are all going to interact with that scenery for the next 5 years.
It's so true. I mean, on paper, it's this thick bureaucratic government planning document, but in reality, it's the whole strategy for how Alabamians will play, how they'll exercise, commute, and just connect with nature from 2026 through 2031.
So we are diving into the, let me get this right, the Alabama Statewide Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan.
Nailed it.
It is a mouthful.
Yeah.
I promised myself I wouldn't make you memorize any acronyms today, so we're just going to call it the plan or the statewide strategy.
That works. Keep it simple.
And look, if you're listening right now, I know what you're probably thinking. You're thinking, why do I care about a government plan? I just want to go hiking.
Right, just tell me where the trail is.
Exactly. But here's the thing. This isn't just paperwork sitting on a desk in Montgomery. This is literally the key that unlocks millions of dollars.
Real money.
Yeah, to fix up your local park, or build that new bike trail you want, or protect that river you always go fishing in.
That is the perfect way to frame it. This plan, which was put together by the Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs, or ADECA,
Right.
along with folks from Auburn University and CRO Planning and Design, it's basically a contract with the future.
A contract with the future. I like that.
Yeah, and the mission statement in the document really says it all. It says it strives to build a thriving outdoor recreation network that welcomes all people, connects communities, and celebrates Alabama's natural beauty.
Thriving and connecting. Okay, so let's actually unpack this, because this is not just about, planting a couple of trees by a swing set. This is a massive machine.
It is. There are a lot of moving parts here.
So how does the machinery actually work?
Well, to understand why this plan matters, you have to realize that this isn't something the state just decided to write for fun on a rainy Tuesday.
Right.
The National Park Service actually requires this statewide strategy to be updated every single 5 years. It's a strict prerequisite.
So it's basically like a hall pass.
Pretty much. If Alabama doesn't have this updated plan, the state completely loses its eligibility for federal money from the Land and Water Conservation Fund.
Okay, the Land and Water Conservation Fund, the LWCF, I saw this in the materials, and this is a huge deal.
Oh, it's massive.
But here is where it gets really, really interesting to me. When we talk about funding for conservation-saving trees, building nature reserves, where do you think that money comes from?
If you ask the average person on the street...
Yeah, I think most people would assume it's income taxes, right?
Oh, absolutely. Income
Okay.
taxes, or maybe some portion of local property taxes.
Right.
But that's not it at all. The Land and Water Conservation Fund is largely funded by offshore oil and gas revenues.
See, that blew my mind when I read it.
It's a huge surprise for a lot of people.
It's essentially taking money generated from extracting natural resources, like drilling, and channeling it right back into protecting natural resources.
Exactly. It's this fascinating mechanism. It reinvests capital from the depletion of one resource, the oil and gas, into the preservation of another public resource.
The land and the recreation.
Right. And since 1965, billions of dollars have been distributed across the country this way. But again, the catch is very clear. No plan.
Money.
No money.
That is such a wild paradox. So ADECA and their partners, they sat down to write this thing to make sure that federal money keeps flowing into Alabama.
Yes.
And they didn't just do it in a dark room by themselves. I mean, Governor Kay Ivey even endorsed it right up front, saying these resources are crucial tools for tourism, for public health, and the economy.
It has top-level support.
But what I really loved finding out in this deep dive is how they actually decided what to put in the document. because they didn't just guess. They went and asked the people.
Right. That's the comprehensive part of the title. They ran a really rigorous dual-track survey approach to get an accurate picture of what the state actually wants.
So how did that work?
First, they ran what's called a panel survey. This is scientifically weighted to represent the state's exact demographics.
Like age, race, where people live.
Exactly. Geography is huge there. They did that to make sure they were hearing from everyone, not just, the loudest voices in the room.
The people who show up to every town hall meeting.
Right, the regulars. And then alongside that, they ran an invested user survey.
Okay, so the difference between those two groups in the data is fascinating. It's like looking at two completely different worlds.
It really is. The data showed a very clear split. So you have your casual users, which is honestly most of the general public.
Just regular folks.
Right. They just want low-cost activities that are close to home. We're talking about walking, relaxing, maybe having a barbecue with some friends at a pavilion.
Playing on a playground with the kids.
Yes. They just want a nice, safe place to be. They aren't looking to conquer a mountain or buy a bunch of gear. They just want to escape their house for an hour without having to open their wallets.
Right. Versus the invested users.
The hardcore enthusiasts.
Yeah, the people with the roof racks on their cars.
Exactly. The invested users are looking for destination experiences. They want intense hiking, paddling routes, specific wildlife viewing spots.
They're the ones willing to drive 3 hours and get covered in mud.
They absolutely are. But here's the thing. Despite all those differences in what they want to do, there was this massive aha moment in the data when it came to what actually stops people from going outside.
The barrier.
The barriers to entry. You would probably think the biggest barrier is money, right?
Sure, or maybe physical ability. Not everyone can hike a steep trail.
Right. But one of the top reasons people cited across the board for not recreating was simply a lack of information.
That is just wild to me.
Isn't it?
We literally have the entire internet in our pockets. We all have Google Maps. Yet people are responding to these surveys saying, I don't know where to go.
Or I don't know what's actually open right now.
Right.
It highlights this massive gap in communication. It's not that the park doesn't exist. It's that people don't know what amenities are actually there.
Right, like, is there a bathroom?
Is the trail paved? Is it safe to park my car there? That uncertainty alone just keeps people on the couch.
Because nobody wants to pack up the kids, drive 30 minutes, and find out the park is locked or sketchy.
Exactly. The other big barriers were lack of transportation and safety concerns. And that actually leads us to what you might call the unsexy truth of this whole plan.
Oh, I love the unsexy truth. Because we always want to talk about the beautiful new waterfalls or the flashy zip lines or these new fancy glamping resorts.
The Instagram stuff.
Exactly, the Instagram stuff. But when you ask Alabamians what they really want, what is at the absolute top of the list?
Clean restroom.
I laughed out loud when I read that. It always comes back to the bathrooms.
It always does. Clean restrooms, secure parking, and just basic maintenance of what's already there.
It's not flashy at all.
No, but think about it. If a family doesn't feel safe leaving their car at the trailhead, or if the bathroom facilities are just gross or locked up, they are never coming back.
No, you lose them instantly.
The public heavily emphasized that we need to take care of what we already have before we go out and build shiny new things. It's a dignity issue, really.
That makes total sense. I mean, if I pull up to a trail and the parking lot looks abandoned, overgrown, and kind of sketchy, I am probably just not getting out of the car.
Most people wouldn't.
So taking all that feedback, the real need for basic maintenance, the safety stuff, the huge desire for simple walking paths, the plan outlines 9 specific priorities.
Yes.
And these are basically the North Stars for where this federal money is going to be spent over the next 5 years. We obviously can't cover all 9 in a short deep dive, but let's hit the really impactful ones.
Sounds good.
Starting with priority number 1, welcoming and safe.
Which is foundational. If a public space isn't welcoming and safe, nothing else you do matters. Nobody will use it.
Right.
This covers the physical environment, like adding better lighting in parking lots, putting up clear signage so people don't get lost in the woods.
Fixing that lack of information barrier.
Exactly. But it also goes much deeper into accessibility. And what's really fascinating here is the shift in the language the state is using.
How so?
The plan talks specifically about moving beyond just ADA compliance, which, let's be honest, is just the legal bare minimum.
Right, just checking a box so you don't get sued.
Right. Moving from that toward what they call universal design.
Universal design. I've heard that term thrown around a bit in architecture and city planning.
Yeah.
But what does that actually look like out in a state park?
It means designing a space from the ground up that works for everyone, regardless of their age or physical ability, without them needing some special, separate adaptation.
Give me an example.
Okay, so instead of a set of stairs leading to a viewpoint with this clunky, separate ramp off to the side that feels like a total afterthought.
Right, making someone feel separated from the group.
Exactly. Under universal design, maybe the entire pathway to the viewpoint is just a gentle, sweeping grade. That way, a person in a wheelchair, a parent pushing a stroller, or an elderly person with bad knees can all just walk up together on the exact same path.
That is so much better.
It really is. It also includes things like sensory paths for kids with autism or putting adaptive equipment right in the main playground area. It's about true inclusion.
I love that. It's making the outdoors actually public in the truest sense of the word.
Ah.
Okay, let's move to the next big priority, connectivity. Now, this seems to be a huge buzzword in urban planning right now.
It is everywhere right now, and for very good reason. For a long time, we treated parks as islands.
What do you mean by islands?
You know, you get in your car, you drive to the park, you walk in a circle for a while, and then you get back in your car and drive home.
Right, it's totally disconnected from the rest of your day.
Exactly. Connectivity is about linking those natural resources together and tying them into the community. It's about developing actual networks.
And this directly touches on something mentioned in the strategy called active transportation, right?
Yes. This is a huge paradigm shift. It's the idea that a trail isn't just for recreation on a Saturday, it's for actual transportation on a Tuesday.
Yeah, like getting from point A to point B.
Right. Can you ride your bike from your neighborhood to the local library? Can your kids walk safely from their school to the park without having to walk in a drainage ditch alongside a highway?
Which you see all the time.
All the time. The plan really emphasizes using trails to connect communities to essential services, not just building isolated loops out in the woods.
Which, honestly, would completely change the daily routine of so many people. If you could safely bike to work or just walk to the grocery store on a greenway, that is a massive game changer for your quality of life.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on. Priority 3, health and wellness.
So this creates a very direct link between outdoor spaces and public health outcomes. We already know Alabama faces some significant health challenges.
Yeah, high rates of obesity, diabetes, heart disease.
Exactly. And this priority explicitly views parks as public health tools to fight those trends.
So what did that look like in practice?
We're talking about installing actual fitness zones in parks, creating dedicated spaces for community yoga or tai chi. But it's also highly focused on the mental health benefits.
Which is so important right now.
It is. The survey data actually showed that escaping the noise and finding mental relaxation were huge primary motivators for Alabamians wanting to get outside.
I mean, it's cheaper than therapy, right? Just getting out into the woods and listening to the birds for an hour.
In many cases, yes. It measurably lowers your cortisol levels. It's proven science.
Wow. Okay, and the final priority from the top list that I want to highlight is informed investments.
Which I admit sounds a bit dry and bureaucratic.
It does sound like an accounting term.
It does, but it's incredibly crucial. It means using actual data like the massive surveys we just discussed to dictate where this federal money goes.
So not just guessing.
Right. It ensures that the state isn't just funding a new park because some local developer thinks it's a neat idea. They are building it because the data prove the community actually needs it and will use it.
It's about spending that offshore oil and gas money wisely based on real community metrics.
Precisely. Accountability.
All right, so that's the high-level strategy. We've got the funding mechanism figured out, we've got the public input, and we've got the core priorities. But let's talk about the actual ground we're walking on.
The fun stuff.
Yes, because tucked inside this massive planning document is also the updated state trails plan. And I have to admit, I was completely blown away by the numbers in this section.
The scale of the trail system is super impressive. The current inventory shows Alabama has approximately 6,400 miles of trails.
6,400 miles. That is a lot of walking.
It is a staggering amount of trails. And to break that down, it's about 3,000 miles of natural surface trails.
So that's your traditional dirt hiking and mountain biking trails.
Right. Then there's about 365 miles of shared use paths, which are usually paved and wider.
For walking, strollers, casual biking.
Exactly. But the number that really stands out to me, the one that makes Alabama so unique, is the blueways.
The blueways. I feel like this is Alabama's best-kept secret weapon.
It really is. Most people don't realize Alabama has one of the densest river networks in all of North America. We have 17 major river systems.
17.
Yes. And the plan identifies roughly 3,000 miles of river trails.
So this is paddling, kayaking, canoeing.
Exactly. Organizations like the Alabama Scenic River Trail Association have done incredible work mapping this out. These are essentially water highways for recreation.
That's so cool.
If you have the skills, you can literally travel across huge chunks of the state without ever touching dry land.
And speaking of traveling across the state, there's a new initiative mentioned in the text called Sweet Trails Alabama, which, first of all, great name.
It is a great name, very catchy.
Well, what is it?
Sweet Trails Alabama is this highly visionary project. It's looking to create a comprehensive, linked network of greenways and blueways that spans the entire state.
Like connecting everything together.
Yes. The ultimate goal is to make Alabama one of the most trail-connected states in the entire country. It's actively trying to bridge the gap between urban centers and rural communities.
Give me a picture of what that means for local.
Imagine a cohesive network where you could essentially hop on your bike in a busy city center and safely travel miles out into the quiet rural countryside entirely on protected trails.
That would be absolutely incredible, and that ties right back into that connectivity priority we were just talking about.
It's all linked together.
But let's pivot for a second here. We've talked about health. We've talked about having fun on the weekends. Let's talk about money.
The bottom line.
Because Governor Ivey specifically mentioned the economy. How does a dirt hiking trail actually make money for the state?
It is a massive economic driver. Obviously, you have the direct spending.
Right, people buying kayaks, paying for a campsite, buying gas and food when they visit a state park.
Exactly, the tourism dollars. But there's a much bigger, more strategic economic angle at play here, and it's called Essential for Alabama.
Okay, I read about this. This is the collaboration with Innovate Alabama and the Hoover Institution, right?
Correct. So the core idea here is that in the modern, remote-friendly economy, highly skilled workers can live basically anywhere they want.
Right, they aren't tied to a specific office building anymore.
Exactly. So if you want to attract top-tier engineers, tech workers, medical professionals to Alabama, you have to offer a very high quality of life.
They want options.
They want to live somewhere where they can go mountain biking right after work or take their kids to an amazing, accessible park on the weekend.
So outdoor recreation is actually a corporate recruitment tool.
It absolutely is. It's a resume builder for the entire state.
So if a big tech company is looking at relocating to Huntsville or Birmingham, they aren't just looking at the corporate tax breaks anymore. They're actually looking at the local bike lanes.
Precisely. Talent follows quality of life, and businesses follow talent.
Wow.
And on the purely tourism side of things, the Alabama Tourism Department has officially designated 2025 and 2026 as the Year of Alabama Trails.
Oh, that's huge.
They are marketing this very aggressively out of state. They want people coming here specifically for the outdoor experience and bringing all that out-of-state money with them.
And there is always a but with these things.
Naturally.
If we successfully invite everyone to come trample through the woods and paddle the rivers, we have to actually protect those woods and rivers, right?
That is the crucial flip side of the coin. Conservation and stewardship, because you cannot have a thriving outdoor recreation economy if you destroy the outdoors in the process.
Right. Nobody wants to visit a polluted river.
Exactly. The plan heavily emphasizes that Alabama has 23 million acres of forested land.
23 million acres. That is a massive natural asset.
It is. But it is also fragile. So the strategy here involves sustainable design.
What does sustainable design look like in a park?
It means using native landscaping that doesn't require thousands of gallons of municipal water to survive. It means integrating rainwater harvesting into park facilities.
Smart infrastructure.
Right. But honestly, a huge piece of it is just public education, stewardship.
Teaching people how to behave outside.
Basically, yes. Teaching the next generation that these resources are not infinite. If we want our grandkids to be able to enjoy the mobile Tensaw Delta or ride the trails at Oak Mountain, we have to actively manage the impact of all these new visitors.
It's a delicate balance. You want the people there spending money and getting healthy, but you want them to tread lightly.
Exactly. Leave no trace isn't just a catchy camping slogan anymore. At this scale, it's basically state economic policy.
That is such a fascinating way to look at it. And that connects right back to the informed investments priority. We have to be smart about where we carve out these new trails so we don't accidentally disrupt the exact biodiversity that makes Alabama unique in the first place.
Exactly. You have to use the data.
So let's try to bring this all home for the listener. We've got this extensive 5-year statewide strategy. We've got the funding flowing in from the Land and Water Conservation Fund via offshore drilling.
Right.
We've got a laser focus on safety, universal accessibility, and connecting communities together. If you're just a regular person living in Birmingham or Mobile or a small town out in the Black Belt, what does this actually mean for your daily life?
It means that over the next 5 years, you should actively see your local outdoor spaces getting tangibly better.
Not just on paper.
Right, in reality.
Yeah.
You should see more ramps and inclusive playgrounds. You should see better lighting making you feel safe. You should see much cleaner, upgraded facilities.
The bathrooms.
The bathrooms. And you should start seeing trails that actually go places, safely connecting your neighborhood to your local schools and shops.
It sounds like a shift from just having nature nearby to actually connecting people with it safely.
That's exactly it. It's an invitation to go outside.
It really is.
And honestly, I'd encourage everyone listening to look at their local park a little differently the next time they go. Look at how the parking lot is lit. Look at the trail markers. Notice the slope of the ramps.
Realize that someone actually planned that.
Yes. Realize that those tiny details are part of a massive 5-year statewide strategy designed specifically to improve your quality of life.
And maybe, just maybe, actually fill out a public survey the next time you see one in your email, because apparently they actually read them.
They absolutely do. Public input fundamentally shaped this entire document. Your voice matters.
All right, I want to leave you, the listener, with one final provocative thought.
Let's hear it.
We mentioned earlier that one of the absolute biggest barriers to people getting outside was simply a lack of information. People literally just saying, I don't know what's out there.
Right. I didn't know that was their factor.
Well, consider yourself informed. We just told you that you have 6,400 miles of trails and 17 different major river systems right in your own backyard.
That's waiting for you.
That is an obscene amount of adventure.
Yeah.
So here's my challenge to you. Pick a number. Maybe it's 5 miles, maybe it's 50 miles.
Yeah.
But go find a piece of that 6,400 miles that you have never seen before.
I love that.
Don't let lack of information be your excuse anymore. The plan is in place. The trails are there. What are you waiting for?
I couldn't agree more. The resource is there. You just have to go claim it.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you out on the trail.
See you there.